So we've created a simple IK rig of an arm based on these 3 rectangle segments, and moving it around by clicking on the control layer looks pretty good. In fact, let me make a little animation here by hitting P for position, moving it forward about a second, having it stretch way out like that, going to about 2 seconds. Whoops, accidentally clicked on the side of that and stretched it out. I'm going to hit Command Z, click back on it, pull it down, and go to 3 seconds and have it come right back. Let me hit the spacebar to preview. It's a bit slow, but you get the gist. So there are a lot of customizable options for our rig contained in the effects panel of our hand control layer that will help customize and make our character animation more practical. So let's take a look. I'm going to click on the hand layer. I'll hit E to bring up the effects down here. The IK forearm and goal are both part of the effects, using scripts to make this IK happen. I'll double click on IK forearm to bring up the effects control panel. I'll go ahead and take a look, and right off the bat at the top, we have a few different options. Clockwise is the first. We can check on this to change the direction that the elbow moves. If you set keyframes for this, and I'll go ahead and click the stopwatch and hit U so we can see them, and I check mark here, this will set toggle hold keyframes, so it instantly changes from one to the other, and there's no in-between animation. If we twirl down right here where we see FK, this gives us the option to disable inverse kinematics. By checkmarking that, we get normal forward kinematics, so we can rotate the upper arm or the lower arm. But that's not what we want to do because inverse kinematics is totally cool. I'm going to go ahead and twirl that closed, and I'm going to twirl open stretch. Currently, we have auto stretch checked marked. So as this stretches out, and as that control layer stretches farther out than the length of the arm, you can see it kind of stretches and rubber bands it. But if we don't want that to happen, if we want it to all be the same size no matter what without any of these gaps, we just uncheck auto stretch. And it doesn't matter how far you stretch out or animate that control layer, they'll stay at the same exact distance as when you began. Now you can also do a little bit of fine tuning here with stretch. So if I want to take this into the negative, we can kind of push this in so they're overlapping a little more. Or if stretch into the positive, we'll stretch it out so there's a little bit of a gap there. And we can adjust and fine tune how it looks that way. Auto shrink is very similar to stretch, but instead of basing how close or far away things are on the actual layers, it bases it on how close or far away that actual control layer is. So it's very similar, and you can fine tune based on this control layer and where that's at too. The last little mark that we want to take a look at, and I'm going to move these both back to 0, is the goal hand checkbox. Now the hand with goal checkmark makes it rotate independently of its parent, and its parent is this forearm right here. If I uncheckmark that, the hand will point in whatever direction the parent is pointing in. So its rotation or orientation is based on its parent when the goal is not checkmarked. But when it is, it goes back to its original rotation. Still, if you want to rotate that hand on the control layer, you can just hit R and you can rotate it up here and have more control over it. So inverse kinematics is super convenient once it's all set up. And with Duik, it's really easy to do that setting up.